Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Gwen from the Dr. Gwen International Training and Empowerment Academy and host of the iTunes show, the Dr. Gwen Podcast Show. Now, we are back here today, and I am truly delighted for a number of reasons to be here. Of course, I'm talking to you. So I hope that you are getting yourself prepared to join me, because today I'm talking about a topic that is really important. I have been very, somewhat frustrated with the level of progress that I see women making, our kind, and I feel like it's just really not called for that people spin their wheels and don't move ahead, even if it's just one little incremental step. And I know it's still January, and typically, people have the tendency when January 1 comes around that they're going to set a resolution. But whether it's a resolution that you're setting in January, or you're simply setting a goal for yourself anytime during the year, what I'm about to share with you today is vital. And it's vital because it's going to cause you to make at least some movement in the direction where you feel you need to go to achieve that goal. As a breakthrough performance expert, one of my pet peeves is seeing people achieve. And it's like, why not? Why aren't you achieving when you are this main powerful human being that has all of this capacity, all of these resources at your fingertips to help you move ahead? So I've jotted down a few little notes so I don't forget anything. So from time to time, I'll be glancing a little bit to the side. However, the first thing that I want to talk about on our Empowering Reflections conversation today is why you don't succeed. Now you may be thinking, well, who are you to tell me that I don't succeed? Well, of course, not all of us fail to succeed, but I feel like even in this conversation that there's a little bit of nugget for every single one of us. There will be something that it will cause your eyes to be open just a little bit wider, so that you can probably make even more incremental progress in the area that you feel like you need to go. Now, the main thing that I feel that causes people to not succeed, first and foremost, is their definition of success. A lot of times we define our success based on someone else's journey, someone else's discussion about who we are to show up as in the world. We don't take it upon ourselves to have the responsibility of choosing for ourselves what our inner core tells us that who we need to be. We're looking outside. We're looking outside in the world. We're looking at the Joneses. We're looking at other people's accomplishments. We're looking at them going to school. We're looking at them even getting on a Facebook Live. And we want to be that. But that may not be who you are. And you must be truthful to the core of who you are. So your first and foremost responsibility is, what is success? You've got to define that for you. It cannot be what Joe's or June or Mary is doing. It simply cannot be that. It has to be that thing that is defined for you, so that when you envision yourself achieving it, you experience the residual feelings of exhilaration, of joy, of happiness. You actually see yourself happily fulfilling on what that success is. Success for a working mom is different than success for a single dad or for a religious leader. It's all different. So who are you? And the main thing is for you to get to the core of who you are. Who are you? And once you can define and come to the space where you understand who you are, then that requires some additional homework, some additional probing, some additional digging inside to find out what makes you happy. That's why I have a passion test. Many times people get confused about the path that they need to take. And there are lots of thoughts that are in their minds rolling around regarding which journey they need to take, which trip they need to go on. And I know for me, that happened when I walked away from my nice and lovely position. I stepped into something that I thought would fulfill me based upon what other people were saying about the successes they were having. And I thought, well, that looks like something interesting. I want to try it. I did like it. I liked it. It didn't fulfill who I was to my core. And so what happened was I started getting bored and I started disliking the monotony of it, even though it was good. And then the whole thing crumbled. You might have heard me tell that story before. It all came crashing down and left me completely bankrupt. And I had to take a step back to notice me, to notice who I am to my core, so that I did not step out again to make that same mistake of doing something just because someone else was telling me to do it, or just because I saw other people doing it and they were saying it's successful. That is not a way to choose a career. And when I backed off of that, I had people saying, well, you can't try this, keep doing it, it's doing good, and all kinds of conversations were coming to me. But I had to plug my ear and I had to back off of all of those voices and tell them to stop. Stop already. This is my life. I know to the core of me what makes me happy. And this does not make me happy. And the dissenters, they backed off. And I was able to find who I am and what I am about. So I could show up bountifully in this world, making the impact that I need to make for the people for whom I need to make it. So what about you now? With all this clarity piece, if you are not clear about what your mission is, don't make a move. Many times we jump off into the pond and it's foggy down there. We don't know that we're even supposed to be in the pond, and we jump in anyway. That is the lack of clarity that we need to rectify before we move. And if you have a venture, if you have something right now, ladies, that you're thinking that maybe you want to take on this journey and you want to go in that direction, if there is even the slightest inkling of a doubt or question in your mind, you really ought to pause. Put a pause on it, because if you don't do that, what you're going to find is wasted efforts. Everything that you take on to push yourself in the direction against that inner voice is going to be wasted effort for you. You will not make the progress as quickly as you really ought to or need to if you are not clear. So get clear. Define what is your success. Don't allow someone else to define that for you. And once you've defined that success, the next thing for you to do is to lay the path. Of course, you're always going to know why you're doing it. It should be something that resonates with you. And it should also be something that makes a difference for other people as well, whether it's people in your life or people in your community or people in the world, wherever or whomever. It ought to be something that causes people to feel completely fulfilled and happy. Not just them, but you. Now, once you set yourself up and you understand what this is that you need to do, here's where another people stop themselves. Here's where they don't move out to get the success they want. They want to know from A to Z. So let's decide that they know they're clear they ought to jump in the pond. But now when they look in the pond, all they see is murk. It's dark in there. It's not clear. They don't know if they're going to be able to make it to the bottom to pick up that success and rise with it, right? So they stand on the banks, and what are they doing? Meandering, emming and awing, and just not moving forward to make the progress that they need to make to step out. So that's what they're doing. And because it's not clear down, they can't see how they're going to get to it. They actually stop themselves. So that is the next thing that you have to avoid doing. You have to avoid stopping yourself because you don't see how. Let me tell you how this thing works. I know from personal examples from decades, I'm not going to say more than half a century, really, seriously, much more. And so here's how it works. You are clear about it. Once you are clear, what happens is now things started opening up. Now, once they start to open up, take that step, that first step. Don't go, oh my goodness, I don't know how I'm going to afford that down the road. Of course, I'm not saying don't plan your stuff carefully. You ought to plan. I don't believe you need to jump into anything without planning out the process. But once you've laid out that process, it always will not be 100% clear. And now what you need to do is to step in. Step in and make that first step. Do not allow that fear to conquer you. Just step in. Now, when you do that, magic starts happening. It's like the path keeps opening up and getting clearer and clearer and clearer. And then once you take that next step, then the next step becomes open. And it's like a bit by bit revelation. If you look back at my recording last week, I talk about how success comes in bit by bit. And so it's a bit by bit revelation. But if you don't take that first step, you never make that progress. And so a lot of people shortchange themselves by sitting on the banks. Those days turn into weeks, turn into months, turn into years, turn into decades, and they never make a move. And then suddenly they're in the graveyard. And they say that the graveyard is the richest place on earth. Do you know why? Because a lot of treasures are buried there. People go there with their dreams buried, not fulfilled. Now, I'm here to encourage you ladies to step out in your power to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve for your life. Do not let fear and lack of clarity hold you. Don't allow people to dictate what you need to be doing. Get clear yourself in your own gut. Get that signal and step out and step forward to do what you need to do. And as I said, it's really important that you never make a move until you absolutely know that you are clear. That's important. Now, I already talked about not seeing the entire process and how that may work, right? But there is even a third and a fourth piece, which I want to get to real quickly. the third piece is the self-limitations that you put on yourself. So now you're clear. Now there's one step, and you started to take it, and then you start hesitating. That fear and that self-limitation steps in, and you go, oh my goodness, what if this thing succeeds? What if it blows up? Then I won't be able to handle it. I don't have the resources. Stop thinking that way. Please. If it blows up, you will find a way. Which leads me to the absolute next point, which is a network. Finding a network. No one, absolutely no one, has achieved massive success on their own independently. You must work interdependently and choose a network, mentors, coaches, experts, resources to help you make that impression that you are here to make in your life or for your family or for others. But you cannot sit back on your sofa, on your seat, in your bed, wherever you are, and just decide that you don't have the resources and you can't move. The richest, the most successful, the most prosperous people on this planet know this one thing, that a network, like, you will never be able to make the massive success without a network. And when I say network, I don't want to use that word so loosely. A support system. It can be people who have resources or who can point you to the resources. It can be people who could coach you or mentor you on this journey that you have to get to. But you have to find these people, and you have to make a contribution to them, and in exchange receive the contribution that they are making to you. They say it takes a village to raise a child, and in my own way I say it takes a village to raise a massively successful person. So after talking about all this, I want to leave you with this thought, that right now, if you are sitting on the fence trying to figure out what is your next move, get up and go. I want you to reach out. You can go to thedrgwen.com and you can fill out that form and set up a free discovery session if you're not clear. My mission is to help you to be clear on what it is that you need to achieve in this life, and then to empower you with those tools and resources so you can step out powerfully to achieve, ladies, what you want. Listen, there are enough of us on this planet, and if we all stepped out to do what we are capable of, that is our own success, that we feel in our internal bellies, if we all step out and did that, can you imagine what kind of world we would create? I really believe that there would be less suffering on this planet if every single woman stepped out to do what she is called to do. So do not make this an excuse anymore. Reach out to me, thedrgwen.com. Let's talk about what you need to make yourself successful in your life and for the people in your life and for the people in your community and perhaps the people in your world. And I thank you so much for joining me. And once again, this is Dr. Gwen. I want you to be clear. I want you to break through. And I enjoy supporting you, transforming your life to live purposefully and passionately. Love you guys.